Hi, welcome to my April bullet journal setup. So recently I've been following Fashion Week in London, Paris, and New York this year a bit more closely than I have in the past. There are so many styles and pieces of outfits that I've already added to Pinterest boards, and recently I discovered my old paper fashion book I got in elementary school, and it inspired me for this month's theme. So while flipping through this book, I found two finished pieces I hadn't found a home for, so I decided to incorporate them in here with some new ones I'm making as well. I pulled inspo from the Louis Vuitton and Versace runways in Paris and New York, and these looks stuck out to me specifically, so I'm recreating them in my own style. One of my favorite things about rediscovering this book specifically and the stencils from it is that there's so much room for customization, and the stencils from over 10 years ago still work for fashion in 2024. And I really like this concept of reusing different elements that I hadn't previously thought of in the past, and it creates a second dimension to my journal as well. One of the best things about utilizing a second dimension to your journals, like, adding these fashions, I've realized that helps me a lot is literally rummage around your entire house and see how much stuff you can come up with. I found a bunch of random scraps of paper that I plan on using on future spreads in April as well, and different pieces of fabric to utilize as well. These are paper pieces for paper fashion, but honestly, if you have scraps of fabric that you can cut out and glue into your journal too, that's another way to increase the diversity of your journal as well, which I think is a really fun addition and a really new thing that I hadn't considered doing before coming up with this spread. I kept the title page pretty simple. I used a sans serif font to match with a lot of high-end fashion brands like Versace and Chanel, and then using the paper fashion designs that I've created, I'm just fitting 3 of them right below April. So you can see also I am keeping this spread relatively simple. I found that I like to create sort of a collage version of the next spread, which is mood and habit and things I'm currently doing this month. So I like to make the title spreads a bit more plain so that the month and the tiny pieces of the theme are a bit more of the focus. So earlier I showed you this design that seemed very, very simple at the time, and now I'm just adding more dimensions to it. Also, you can see that I tried adding this button to this look, and honestly it took me forever to actually glue that on there, so I did not attempt to do that again in the future. But utilize as many random buttons, beads, scrap pieces of fabric as you can to make it more dimensional and more exciting. For the other side of the spread, I wanted to include this quote I found from that same paper fashion activity book, and probably Google if I look long enough, a quote from Yves Saint Laurent that says, "Fashion fades, style is eternal." I also definitely stole these letter stamps from my sister along with a regular black ink pad to add some more dimension to these spreads. I cut out or tore some pieces from magazines as well, just to add to more of that fashion aesthetic. Recently I've seen so many people on TikTok and Instagram and things asking people what the new trend is going to be for the new season, for the new month, for the new week. And frankly, as exciting as it is to be excited about new trends in fashion, I think they encourage fast fashion a bit too much, and especially now fast fashion has become so much more prevalent and everybody stays jumping on these new trends so quickly. And I think there's just so much more value in finding inspiration from others while also finding pieces that work well for you. I'm using the same ink pad and letter stamps for the title in April, and then I'm just measuring out the monthly calendar. As you'll see in a moment here, I fully added a whole extra week to this spread. I counted out what I thought was correct. It was not, but so I'm making the dimensions for each of these boxes days of the week are 4x4 and weekends are 4x3. I'm going in with the titles, and then you'll see in a moment here where I pause and realize that I have in fact made a mistake. But, anyways, this is a great spot for me to tell you that mistakes happen all the time, even to someone like me who's been doing bullet journaling for almost 4 years now. I could have definitely just used whiteout and gotten rid of that whole extra line at the bottom, but I decided to make it the first week of May just so I have some extra space to plan for the transition into the next month. Below the extra long monthly calendar, I'm adding a small section for media I want to check out. Last month I realized I made a much bigger box than I thought I needed, so to accommodate for that and learning from my mistakes, I'm making a smaller one this month. Also, I don't know if I'm the only one who does this, but I am definitely guilty of rewatching more shows than I am of starting new ones. I'm rewatching Brooklyn Nine-Nine and X-Men Evolution right now. I think the last new show I started and finished was Pretty Little Liars Original Sin. Finished that in about a week. It's kind of creepy, but really good. For the mood tracker, I won't lie, I had absolutely no idea where I was going after I drew out that mannequin. So I just stopped filming and straight up stared at my journal for about 10 minutes until I had this idea. So I'm taking a plain colored piece of paper, and by colored piece of paper, I mean it's like tan, and it's the back of origami paper, cutting it out an outfit including shoes and a scarf, and I made it a longer skirt because I wanted some more space to work with, just for all the days of the month that I have to include in here. So I also wanted to add some extra elements for some space, so I'm taking into account that, and then just making sure everything fits and gluing it down onto the mannequin. I was still stumped about how I was going to spread out my days on the mood tracker, so I decided to move on for now, creating this color coordinated key corresponding to my potential moods with a different colored marker, and then I moved on to the habit tracker while still keeping the mood tracker in the back of my mind. So for the habit tracker, I kept it simple with these boxes, correctly with 5 rows, I definitely learned from my mistake, and titling them similarly to what I had last month. I changed calling friends and family to spending time with them. I'm definitely guilty of going a few weeks without talking to any of my friends and then realizing that I miss them and then texting them to hang out. So I wanted to use this tracker to kind of try and balance out my time spent with them a bit better.
Okay, back to the mood tracker. I started off at the either end. With the scarf, I took out 3 days and the shoes were a day each. Then going fully off of vibes for the top, I did what looks good. And then I split up the skirt into 6 sections with 5 lines, and then I divided each of those in half again to create 12 sections total to complete all the days. Hopefully that made sense. If not, hopefully looking at it will help a bit more.
Okay, now back to the rest of this spread. I'm creating a usual monthly currently spread, which is just me adding what I've been crafting, eating, enjoying, reading, and watching this month. Also, looking back at last month's currently section, I was drinking a lot of strawberry matcha lattes and enjoying my new haircut, which I have included in my March Diaries video if you want to check that out too.
I, just like her, don't need 2 pages for a weekly spread since graduating from college, so I'm putting a to-do list at the bottom of the left-hand side page and then dividing up each day at the top for the events that I have for that day and when I'm going to accomplish certain tasks. On the next page, I'm putting a sort of check-in. I don't think I'll do this every week since I don't really journal every single week, or even that much, but I do think every once in a while it's good to have these. And I just wanted to mention that this piece I made when I was 8 years old, and I think that I had a pretty good sense of style then. Also, while I was cleaning up, I realized I never ended up using this one at all, but it's fine. She'll make a reappearance sometime later this month. But now it's time for the best part, the final flip through. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you got a lot of inspiration from this video as well and choose to incorporate Fashion Week into your April bullet journal setup as well.